the audio sounds like?
Yeah, so that way I can adjust it. I just need to know if people
Yeah.
because I've not decided.
Okay. I'm just refreshing that page because there I am live. I'm live on YouTube now. I'm just going to pull out the chat here. Pop out chat. And then switch this back over here. Okay, let's just refresh this page because I am now streaming here as well. You might have to turn down this television. This one here. The no, the other one, the one I'm looking at. Yeah, there we go.
Hey, Tom Selrod.
I'm just looking now at the pop-out chat. There we go. Hey, there's Thomas. Hello, y'all, he says. And there's Pedro. And who else we got? Okay, video is good. How's the audio? Is the audio good? You guys tell me. We got a couple minutes before we actually get started here. This is our Wednesday live stream, a little bit of a pre-show, I guess. We got Brian on the controls. Audio is acceptable, Thomas says.
Acceptable.
Acceptable. And we got John Jones. Hello, John, over on Facebook. Welcome, sir. Today I'm diving back into the Wanhao Duplicator 9 for you guys. I'm going to read some comments I got on my original review 5 months ago. Does it print? It absolutely does. Tinny, base heavy. Okay, that's you. Okay.
That's me.
John says it sounds good. John is saying evening all. Where are you, John Jones, that you are in the evening? You must be in another part of the world. So we're using the shotgun mic again today, guys. We're going to try and oh, you're from Scotland. Well, hello to everybody in Scotland today. Hey, there's Rick Landon. Can you give me details about that printer? I am going to give you all the details I possibly can, Rick. Ben Brady, hello, sir. We are going to we're going to try and get you guys the best secondary review that I can. We got Brian Baker behind the controls today. He was kind enough to come in on his busy schedule and give us a hand today. There's lots to talk about this printer. Morgan Pierce, howdy, Rich and gang. Hello, Morgan Pierce. I really want to talk about this printer a little bit more. I know some people have it, some people don't have it. Some people like it, some people don't. Can I say hi to Archie? Hello, Archie. Archie's 3 years old. There's Jim McGregor. Hello, sir. Archie's watching our show in Scotland, too. 3 years old. He's going to be a 3D printing genius when he gets older. More on setup on Cura as well as Simplify 3D. Rick, we're going to be getting into those, but not on today's show. I want to talk mainly about this unit, what I've discovered about it, having it for the last 5 months here in the showroom and using it from time to time. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the issues that it has. Have I changed my mind? We're going to talk about that too. So it's 1:30. Let's run that intro. Hey, welcome to the first layer. This is Coffee with Rich, our live stream, which we do on Wednesdays. My name's Richard Cleveland. I'm so glad that you're with me today. Today we are taking a look back at the Wanhao Duplicator 9. This is their large format printer. This is the 300 by 300 by 400 model, or what they call the Duplicator 9 300. There's also a 400 and a 500 model as well. But we're going to just take a look at this one for today. I did a review on this about 5 months ago for anybody that didn't catch that review. And before we get into the review, I want to read some of the comments that we got on this particular review. And I won't say who they're from, but I will go into addressing some of the comments. So the first comment is, from the first time you open the box, you seem to have a negative attitude towards this printer. Then, when you mysteriously discovered the instructions were on the SD card, you then had a negative attitude that your computer did not access the SD. Then, when you discovered it was your fault for not placing the SD card in the reader, every part you tried to install, you had a negative attitude. You also did not like they did not make it the way you like, and mucking about again the way they made the assembly. Okay, let me address that. Well, first and foremost, I did not like the assembly because it was unclear how things went together. So, the instructions, any other time you buy a Wanhao, the instructions are always in a booklet. And this time, when they released this, everything was on the SD card. And yes, there was some issues as to where those files were on the SD card, but we did find them. We did get this together. Everything still has the numbers and the letters on it, as you can see by these little white dots on it. It was not a first-time friendly build. If you are a new builder, this is not the printer for you. That's what I was trying to get across. Maybe I didn't do a very good job of that, but do I like this printer? There are some aspects of this printer I do very much like, and there are other aspects of this printer that I think they need to change, and we're going to touch on those. I want to just get to another couple of comments here. Have not been able to get nice prints with the D9. This commenter says, my other two printers have much nicer prints. Now my D9 has stopped working after 1 week. Not recommended, poor design for rails, cables, and etc. Okay, let me talk about that. Is it a poor design? Aspects of it are, and I'll tell you what they are. This ribbon cable right here is one of the poorest aspects I've seen on this printer. And let me go over to this area here. This is the extruder back. I'm just going to pop off this little piece right here, which just covers over the electronics. Now, this ribbon cable, if it gets caught, and it's happened to me, if it gets caught, it can pop out very, very easily, or it can miss a line. And that has happened to me once on this machine already. Now, on the sides of the male receiving end of this, there are two little notches, one on this side and one on that side, and they're very hard to see. So there should be a locking mechanism on this ribbon cable female mount, and that would hold this cable in nice and snug so you wouldn't rip it out when you turn around and get it caught on something. Now, should this thing have had a filament out detector? Yes. They were kind enough. Look, I can't even get this back piece back on again. That's probably because I'm putting it on the wrong way. There we go. Should they have put a filament detector out on this unit? I believe they should have. Because when it runs out of filament, and it's happened to me on this machine, it just keeps printing. It doesn't care. They could have put a filament out detector in this area. This is very similar to the setup on the Wanhao D6, which I have one behind me. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a big fan of Wanhao. I really like their products, but I'm not a fan of their first generation products. And this is a first generation product. Now, one of the other things I wanted to talk about on this particular extruder is they did do a nice job of putting a auto bed leveling system on here. And the bed leveling system on here is very good. It tests several different places on the bed to give you a nice representation of what's going on. Let's just pull this forward, and I'll pull the mat off. Now, it is a magnetic mat. It's one giant 12 by 12 piece of magnet, you know, flexible magnet, and all they have is their Wanhao trademark build tack surface on there. Where this becomes a problem is with the steel plate that they have glued to the aluminum heated bed. Now back here in this corner, I don't know how well you guys can see that. Maybe if I go to the overhead, you might be able to see it. But back in this corner, you can see right there, right here, there is a ripple where the glue has not taken, and it has caused the this corner to bend. And is it tough to get out? Yes, very much it is. So do I recommend this printer? Anybody who knows me is going to say he doesn't recommend it because he doesn't like it. Well, to a certain extent, that is true. Secondly, this thing is so hard to line up. To a certain extent, that is very true. I think they could have done a better job. There's already been a recall on this machine. Does it print nice? I've had some very beautiful prints off of it, which are, believe, are all out in the showroom. Do I think that the bed leveling here is adequate? Absolutely. I think they've done a good job on the bed leveling knobs. Rick Landon is asking how the amps are handled to the hot end through that thin ribbon cable. Actually, how this is handled is there's multiple strands that are broken up to run that that heat through and down into the hot end. It all goes in, I'll go back to this view right here. It all goes into this control board, which then is attached to this connector, which sends the signals back and forth up this ribbon cable. Now, all of these connectors, there you can see there's only, what, 3 lines there, 4 lines there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. There's maybe 10 lines, but this ribbon cable has way more lines than the actual lines that are coming into it. So what that does for you as a consumer is it splits out the actual power draw across many different lines going back to the box and going into the hot end. So the amperage is spread over those different wires, and that's how it handles that. I hope I explained that correctly. So Pedro's on his way out. I see my wife joined. Hey, there's Rover. Thank you, Rover, for coming in today. Anything you need me to do, boss? I'm free. Not at the moment, but thanks, William. We're just talking about the Wanhao Duplicator 9. Now, as I said, it does print very well, and I'm really happy with the way that it prints. What I am not happy with, though, like I said, are those few minor gripes. This happens to be my biggest gripe right here. It's not very well routed. I think that this ribbon cable could have been done in a bundle, and you can see up here, right here. I guess that's pretty hard to see, but up here there's been a little bit of crimping for where this cable is moving back and forth. It is a very heavy machine. This is a personal gripe for me, but I think that this power switch and plug-in should have been at the back. There was an easy way to do that. I think they should have brought this to the back. Now, there was a recall on one of the parts from the screen on the front here. It is a touch screen that's very nice. It's easy to use. It uses a standard SD card, not a micro SD card. A lot of us can get our hands on SD cards fairly easily these days. It will, right now I think I have a 16 gigabyte SD card in here, and I think it works really well. However, I do believe that the menu system could have been a little bit easier to navigate. It's tough to get in to change any of the settings. I have not done a firmware update on this unit. I don't believe there's one out yet. I could be wrong about that. If I am wrong, please somebody tell me in the comments down below. I don't mind being wrong. But I think now they have to bring this up to the standard of their other printers. With the release of the D6 Plus, this whole unit now has been changed on the D6 Plus to accommodate for some of the features that we were talking about. It does do a great job. It's not a noisy printer by any stretch of the imagination, so you can pretty much put it anywhere. The German printing nerd, Don, has one of these. He's had nothing but problems with it. A few other people have had problems. Mainly, I think the biggest problem is using the software. And some of the people that are in this, who have left comments, have asked, it looks like a pain in the ass. One person said he hasn't had any good prints from it. He's got other printers that are doing much better prints. Part of that has to do with learning the software and learning Cura and how this relates to using Cura. And I want to cover that, and I'm going to cover that in a later episode. But I think for now, this particular printer is still not completely ready for the average consumer. A lot of people buy it, they like the size. It is, here's the kicker, it is less money than the CR10S. It comes in at about $50 less than the CR10S here in Canada. So is it a good buy for the money? I think it could be. Do I think you as a consumer, if you are electronic savvy, should change this ribbon cable? Absolutely I do. I think you should change the connector on the end so that it has a locking connection system. And they're not hard to find. You can find them at any online electronics depot. Just having a quick look here. We got Canadian Maker Project in the house. What am I missing here? Can it print standard STL files? Yes, Rick Landon, it can print standard STL files. Gary Tarasoff, FYI, ribbon cable is around 26 AWG, which gives you 1.5 amps per wire. You're absolutely right about that, Gary. I don't have all those numbers in front of me, but when it comes to a ribbon cable, and that's why companies like these guys. Hey, there's Fred Kaz joined. Welcome, sir. That's why companies like Wanhao use this ribbon cable. I've got the same ribbon cable sitting on my D6, but it has a cloth cover that goes over top of the ribbons to protect them from rubbing. I can see over time where you might rub through the plastic up in this section, so you can expose wire and maybe short some things out. Looking at this moving forward, there will be issues. But for now, that's what I think of this machine. If you've got questions about it, I'm willing to answer them. If you've got questions about anything right now, I'm willing to take your questions and answer them. So we can go ahead, and I'm not sure what Brian's doing. Guess what's on the printer? I'm not sure what he's doing. Oh, back here. Oh, you want to guess what's on the printer back here? Is that cable the possible fire hazard? Rick Landon's asking. This cable I don't believe is the fire hazard. I believe it is a capacitor on the LCD. That's where there's been problems in the past. We've fixed a couple of them here in-house, but different runs had different issues. So I don't believe this is the fire hazard unless it really sparks and sends a spark flying. I don't think that's it. I think it all has to do inside this front control box, because in here, not only is there your motherboard, but there's also the LCD's motherboard, and the power supply is all located up at the front of this machine. That's why the front is so heavy and the back isn't. The back is actually pretty light. It's a little mismatched in terms of the weight. Morgan Pierce, Patreon bricks on the printer in the back. No, but Patreon bricks are being done. Gradivus, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Hey Richard, coming in today to pick up a new printer. How late are you there today? I am actually going to be here till 5 o'clock today. I'm going to be here, and after this show is over, then we can go ahead and find something for you. Anything you'd like, actually. What printer do you want? If you're looking for a CR10S, we have none in stock. We're still waiting for some to come in. You sure are, he says. Okay. Yeah, I'll be here till 5 o'clock today, and anybody that's in the Calgary area that wants to come in and see the studio and stuff, you're welcome to. He says, I'll see you in an hour or so. Now, Fred Kaz, need advice. Ender 3, is it a Mark 10 or 8 head? Keep seeing conflicting info. Fred, I'm going to tell you right now that the Ender 3 is the exact same setup as the CR10S in terms of the hot end, and it is a Mark 8 head. So you need a Mark 8 short throw nozzle for that. Just so you know. Some of the nozzles that are out and available for replacement nozzles are too long. The one that actually fits in this one, if you're not getting a Creality nozzle, you must go to a Micro Swiss nozzle. Micro Swiss nozzles fit this perfectly. I got the link. I'll be posting it to the CMP Facebook. Thank you very much there, Canadian Maker Project.
Referring to his question of 3D hubs.
3D hubs. I missed that question. Did you hear about 3D hubs shutting down outside printing? No, I actually have not, but I'm really interested in seeing that. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, repost that also on the First Layers group page. I would be happy to read that, and maybe we can talk about that at a later time. 3D hubs, I've never been a huge fan of 3D hubs. I think that they had a great idea at the beginning to outsource 3D printing to people who had printers that weren't doing much. And they took a little cut off the top for, you know, acting as the agent, as it were, and putting you in touch with potential customers. But now 3D printers have come down so much in price that anybody can get into 3D printing at any level. I mean, I've seen them as low as 150 bucks for a 3D printer. The lowest priced one that Spool 3D sells is $329, and that's for the Ender 3, which is a fantastic printer. It works great. And I think that the Ender 3 is one of those printers that you can set up in just a little bit of time, get it up and running, and you're good to go. Yeah, Fred Kaz, the Micro Swiss is definitely the way to go. Ender 3 supposed to be really good for the price. It's an amazing printer for the price. You really don't have to do anything to it. Aries is saying, I think the Ender 3 is a printer that was well received in the marketplace. They did the right thing when they launched it. It's now going to be copied by every Chinese company in the world, but at the same time, I think it is one of those 3D printers that is easy to get into, it's easy to set up, and it's easy to start printing in a very short period of time, much like the CR10S. Okay, so Rover, CMP would be a great wrench also. Wrench, I'm not, oh, I know what you, a moderator. Yes, we'll look into that. We'll talk about that off camera a little bit. I ended up with a Mark III because you guys were out of the CR10S. Glad you were, ha ha ha. The Mark III is a good printer. No printer, and let me just say that no printer is perfect. It's never going to be perfect. It's just like a car and just like appliances that you buy, televisions and computers. If it's built on a Wednesday or a Friday, guaranteed it's probably going to have some issues down the line. That's the old guy in me talking, because Wednesdays nobody wants to work because it's hump day, and Friday everybody's anxious to get out to the bar, get their paycheck and get out to the bar. So I don't think the Mark III is overpriced if you get it in the Czech Republic. I think it's overpriced after you pay for shipping, but it does have now Joseph Prusa has been a huge innovator in 3D printing. I'm never going to knock Joseph Prusa because this guy paved the way for things like the Wanhao, the Crealities, the Tron XYs of the world, the Hicktops of the world. He paved the way for people to get into this and make a living at it. And I think with that said, they're always going to be the first to innovate something. I think right now they're working on a multi-material extruder. Right now I know that they've got one that you can put 4 heads on, or 4 extruders onto it. And I think that's multicolor, not multi-material. I could be wrong about that. But I think that at the end of the day, Prusa's got a great little product. I do think it's a little expensive for the North American market though. How to set up this printer and what rolls, works, and busts. Everything works on this machine. This, again, is my biggest issue, this ribbon cable. And otherwise than that, I think it's a pretty decent machine. Hello there, Mark Baker. The printer is amazing, Ari says. Don't mean to make it sound otherwise, haha. Prusa is awesome. He is. Just costs way more than what you can get locally. And I agree with that. You can buy printers that are, I think, on par with the Prusa. People buy Prusa because people buy Maserati, people buy Yamaha, people buy Sony. It's brand recognition, and you're going to buy a GM product before you buy a Ford product because you like GM better, right? Because you know more about GM. Just like people know more about Prusa than they know about Wanhao, or they know about Creality, or they know about any of the other printers on the market today. So they go to Prusa first, because if you go to any forum in the world, you will hear the praises of a Prusa printer. And that's just the way that it is. So who else do we got in there? We got Mark Baker. Oh, Don the German printing nerd has just shown up. Don, we just talked about you a little bit. We were talking about the D9. We're almost at the end of that. We've got about 5 more minutes on today's broadcast. So quickly, before we wrap things up, I want to remind you guys to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. If you're new here, thank you for joining us. If you're watching this in the after stream or the restream later on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, and give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you learned something and you thought today's information was worthwhile. Would I buy this printer at the end of the day? Not yet. That's what I'm gonna leave it at, not yet. I want to thank Brian Baker for manning the controls today. I also want to thank Frank Awesome, part of our team, and the ever lovely Jess Corniching, who will be in tomorrow, actually. Jess will be here as we record our Friday and Monday show. And who else do I got to thank? Oh, yeah, that guy who gives us the space here every week, to do this. I want to thank Spool 3D. Spool 3D, print it right, print it with Spool 3D. They've got everything that you need, from printers, just like this one, to filaments, and to all the parts and accessories you could possibly need for your next 3D printer upgrade or custom 3D build. So check them out today at spool3d.ca. Print it right, print it with Spool 3D. And oh yeah, got to talk about those. Thank you to all of my Patreons for sticking with me. I've got to get some videos up. I just have to finish editing them. So thank you to all my Patreons. And if you are interested in becoming a Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/thefirstlayer. Your help with your financial support of the show helped us to get a brand new PC here. And that's what we're on today, and it looks great, and it's working great. Brian's giving me thumbs up that everything is streaming well. We haven't had any hiccups, so I'm happy about that. I also want to let you know that if you're not interested in a monthly commitment on something like Patreon, by the way, you can always buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/thefirstlayer. Brian loves coffee, I love coffee, Jess and Frank also love coffee. So all that money kind of goes into the same pool for the upgrades that we need. Our new PC is working great, and I just want to let you know that it is 4K ready. So when we get up to 4K with our cameras here, we'll let you guys know, and you'll get a much better picture of me without shaving, because I haven't shaved in a week and a bit. So I'm growing my hipster beard. That's what it is. So I will be back with you again on Friday. We're going to be talking about something excellent. Rover says, you can send me your old computer. Well, actually, I'm using that old computer to monitor what you guys are saying over in the chat right now. So, no, but thank you. When we do get rid of it, I'll keep you in mind. So until next time, my friends, I see you on Friday. Remember that the first layer is always your foundation to a great print. Have yourselves a great day.